before humans conquered the sky, before we reached the highest mountains, before we even understood how little we know about our own planet, there were already giants, not on land, not in the air, but hidden, far below the surface of the ocean. Massive, silent, invisible. Creatures so enormous, so perfectly adapted to darkness, that even today they remain almost completely unknown. And here's the part that should disturb you the most. They are not extinct. They are not legends. They are still alive, right now, swimming somewhere beneath kilometers of water, in a place where no human can survive. Welcome to a world without light, a world without sound, a world where size is the only rule that matters. Welcome to the abyss. And before we go deeper, if you're fascinated by the unknown, the hidden, and the terrifying truths of our planet, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now, because what you're about to discover only gets more intense. The ocean is not just water. It is the largest, least explored environment on Earth, covering more than 70% of the planet's surface. That's over 361 million square kilometers, a scale so massive that it's almost impossible to imagine. But the real mystery isn't its size, it's what lies beneath. Because the ocean is not one world. It is divided into layers, each one more extreme, more hostile, and more unknown than the last. At the very top lies the sunlit zone. This is the world we recognize. Bright, colorful, full of movement. Fish swim freely, turtles glide slowly through the water. Predators like sharks dominate the food chain. Here, sunlight reaches everything. Life is abundant, but this comfort is an illusion. Because just 200 meters below, everything begins to change. Light fades, colors disappear, and the ocean transforms into something else entirely. You are now entering the twilight zone, a place where visibility becomes limited and shadows start to move in ways that feel unnatural. Here, creatures have evolved to produce their own light. Tiny flashes, cold blue glows, signals in the darkness. Not for beauty, but for survival. Every movement matters. Every light could mean danger. And then, you go deeper. At around 1,000 meters, sunlight is gone completely. You have reached the midnight zone. Total darkness, endless night, no sunrise, no colors, no horizon. Just pressure, cold, and silence. The temperature drops close to freezing. The weight of the water above becomes crushing. And yet, life continues. Strange creatures drift through the void. Bodies adapted to survive where nothing should exist. Eyes that see almost nothing. Senses that replace vision entirely. Everything here is built for one purpose: to survive the impossible. Below 4,000 meters, the ocean floor begins. Endless plains covered in soft sediments, where movement is slow and energy is scarce. Creatures here barely move, conserving every bit of strength. Because in this world, food is rare, time feels different, and then, beyond that, there are places even deeper. The trenches. At depths greater than 6,000 meters, we reach the most extreme environments on Earth. Places that remain almost completely unexplored. In the Mariana Trench, at more than 11,000 meters below the surface, life still exists. Delicate, strange, unbelievable life. Creatures that have never seen light. Creatures that exist under pressure strong enough to crush steel. And yet, they survive. Which leads to one terrifying question. If life can exist there, in conditions so extreme, what else could be hiding in the depths? Because the deeper we explore, the more we realize something unsettling. We don't really know what lives in our oceans, and maybe we were never meant to. As we rise from the darkness of the abyss, the ocean begins to change. Light slowly returns. Shadows become clearer. Movement becomes faster. But with light comes something else: speed, precision, violence. Because in these waters lives a predator that has perfected the art of killing, the great white shark. A name that alone is enough to trigger fear. Not because it is the biggest, but because it is one of the most efficient hunters ever created by nature. Reaching lengths of over 6 meters and weighing more than 2 tons, this predator is built for one purpose: to strike. Its body is a masterpiece of evolution. A dark gray back that blends perfectly with the deep ocean below. A bright white belly that disappears against the light from above. A camouflage so perfect that prey often doesn't see it coming at all. And by the time they do, it's already too late. Unlike the slow hunters of the deep, the great white relies on speed. Explosive, sudden, unstoppable. It doesn't chase for long. It calculates, it waits, and then it attacks. With a burst of power, the shark launches upward from the depths at speeds exceeding 40 kilometers per hour, sometimes with such force that its entire body explodes out of the water. A single strike, a single bite. That's all it takes. But what makes this predator truly terrifying is not just its strength, it's its senses. Because in the ocean, the great white doesn't just see, it detects, it tracks, it feels. Its sense of smell is so powerful, it can detect tiny traces of blood from kilometers away. Its hearing picks up vibrations long before prey comes into view. And most importantly, it has something almost unreal. A biological detection system known as the ampullae of Lorenzini. Special sensors that allow it to feel the electrical signals produced by the muscles of other animals. That means even if a fish is hiding, even if it is buried in sand, even if it is completely still, the shark knows exactly where it is. Imagine trying to hide from something that can feel your heartbeat, and yet, even this perfect predator is not always at the top. Because there is something in the ocean that even the great white fears. In certain parts of the world, a new shadow appears, faster, smarter, more coordinated. The orca, also known as the killer whale. Despite its name, it is not a whale at all, but the largest member of the dolphin family. And unlike the great white, it does not hunt alone. Orcas hunt in groups, highly organized, highly intelligent. They communicate constantly using clicks, whistles, and calls. Each group even has its own unique language. They plan, they coordinate, they execute, and when they target a great white shark, the outcome is often inevitable. Instead of attacking blindly, orcas use strategy. They isolate the shark, disorient it, and then they strike with precision. Some pods have been observed flipping sharks upside down, inducing a state called tonic immobility, a temporary paralysis. In that moment, the predator becomes prey. Even more disturbing, orcas often don't consume the entire shark. They target specific organs, especially the liver, rich in energy. They remove it with surgical precision and leave the rest behind, a clear sign of intelligence, of understanding, of control. In these encounters, the ocean hierarchy shifts, the hunter becomes hunted, and even the most feared predator is forced to retreat. But not all giants rely on speed or intelligence. Some rely on something much more overwhelming: size, pure, unimaginable size. Because somewhere in these same waters moves a creature so massive, so powerful, that it makes everything else look small. There is a moment in the ocean when everything goes silent. No sudden movements, no panic, no struggle, just a strange, unnatural calm. And then they appear. Not one, not two, a group moving together as if they share one mind. The orcas, also known as killer whales. But that name barely captures what they truly are. Because these are not just predators, they are strategists. Reaching up to 9 meters in length and weighing over 10 tons, orcas are among the most powerful hunters in the ocean. But their true strength is not size, it's intelligence. Unlike most marine predators, orcas do not rely on instinct alone. They learn, they teach, they adapt. Entire hunting techniques are passed down from generation to generation. Like knowledge, like culture, each pod operates like a family, led by an experienced female, a matriarch. She remembers migration routes, hunting grounds, seasonal changes. She leads, and the others follow. Not blindly, but with trust. Communication is constant. Clicks, whistles, pulsed calls. Each pod has its own unique dialect, a language that allows them to coordinate perfectly, even in total darkness. And when they hunt, it is nothing short of terrifying. A group of seals rests on a floating ice sheet, calm, safe, unaware. Below them, the water shifts. Orcas position themselves silently. They don't rush. They prepare. Then suddenly they strike. Swimming in perfect synchronization, they generate powerful waves that break the ice apart. The seal falls, and within seconds, it's over. In other regions, orcas target something far more dangerous: massive prey, even whales. When hunting large whales, the pod works together. Some individuals distract, others attack from below. Some target the fins, others the head. They exhaust their prey, slowly, methodically, turning a giant into something vulnerable. Even newborn whale calves are not safe. Orcas may separate them from their mothers, using coordinated attacks that can last for hours. The ocean becomes a battlefield, a test of endurance, a fight for survival. But even among these brutal hunts, there is something else, something unexpected: play. Orcas are known to leap out of the water, spin, slam their tails, not for survival, but for interaction, for social bonding, for something that looks almost like joy. And yet, the same creature can take down animals much larger than itself, including the largest animal to ever exist. The blue whale, reaching lengths of up to 30 meters and weighing more than 150 tons, the blue whale is not just big, it is beyond comprehension. Its heart alone can weigh as much as a car, its tongue as heavy as an elephant. Every movement shifts massive volumes of water. And unlike predators, this giant does not hunt. It feeds on something incredibly small: krill, these shrimp-like creatures that gather in massive clouds. To survive, the blue whale consumes up to 4 tons of krill every single day. Its feeding method is extraordinary. It lunges forward, opening its enormous mouth, taking in tens of thousands of liters of water. Then, using specialized baleen plates, it filters out the water, trapping the krill inside. A single mouthful can contain millions of organisms. Despite its size, the blue whale is not invincible. Orcas have been observed attacking even these giants. Not often, but it happens. And when it does, it becomes one of the most intense struggles in nature. Multiple orcas coordinate the attack. They target the fins. They block movement. They wear the whale down, slowly, relentlessly. Sometimes the whale escapes, sometimes it doesn't. And when a giant falls, its story is not over. Because when a whale does, its body sinks, slowly, into the depths. A phenomenon known as a whale fall. For the deep ocean, this is a gift. A single carcass can feed entire ecosystems for decades. First come the large predators, then scavengers, then microscopic life forms that break down even the bones. In death, the giant creates life. And this is the true nature of the ocean. Not chaos, not randomness, but a system. Precise, balanced, unforgiving. And yet, we have only seen a fraction of it. Because deeper still, there are creatures far stranger, far more alien, and far less understood. Not everything in the ocean is driven by brute force. Not every hunter relies on size, or speed, or raw power. Some rely on something far more advanced: intelligence. Closer to the surface, where sunlight still reaches the water, a very different kind of predator moves through the ocean, fast. Social, the dolphin. At first glance, dolphins seem harmless, playful, curious, friendly. They leap from the water, ride the waves, approach boats without fear. But beneath that behavior lies something far more complex. Because dolphins are not just animals, they are thinkers. Reaching lengths of up to 4 meters and weighing more than 500 kilograms, dolphins are perfectly designed for speed and precision. Their streamlined bodies cut through the water effortlessly. Their powerful tails generate rapid acceleration. and their curved dorsal fins stabilize every movement. But their real advantage is their brain. Dolphins possess one of the highest levels of intelligence in the animal kingdom. They recognize themselves in mirrors. They form long-term social bonds. They communicate using a complex system of sounds. Each individual even develops its own unique signature whistle, a kind of name. They live in groups called pods, sometimes just a few individuals, sometimes hundreds, and in rare cases, thousands. Within these pods, relationships are everything. Alliances form, hierarchies shift, roles change, males often group together, forming teams to increase their influence. Females maintain strong family structures, raising calves and passing knowledge forward. Communication never stops. Clicks, whistles, rapid bursts of sound. These signals allow dolphins to coordinate movements with incredible precision, especially when they hunt. Because when dolphins hunt, they become something else entirely. A school of fish moves through the open water. Individually, the fish are fast, hard to catch. But dolphins don't hunt individually. They hunt as a unit. Using echolocation, they locate the entire school instantly. Then, they begin to surround it, closing in from all sides, tightening the circle, forcing the fish into a dense, compact formation. Panic spreads, the fish try to escape, but there is nowhere to go, and then the attack begins. Dolphins take turns rushing through the school, snatching fish with perfect timing. No wasted energy, no chaos, just efficiency. Each dolphin consumes between 5 to 8 kilograms of food per day, but during these coordinated hunts, they can feed quickly and effectively. Yet even these intelligent hunters are not safe, because in the ocean, there is always something bigger, something faster, something more dangerous. Sharks, tiger sharks, bull sharks, even great whites, all of them can target dolphins. And when they do, the roles reverse. But dolphins don't panic. They react. Using their speed and coordination, they form defensive groups. They stay close together. They move as one. And if necessary, they fight back. Dolphins have been observed striking sharks with powerful blows from their snouts, targeting sensitive areas, driving the predator away. And when escape is the only option, they rely on speed. Their powerful bodies allow them to outrun most threats. At the same time, their echolocation system gives them an advantage. They can detect predators from hundreds of meters away, long before danger becomes visible. But even with all these abilities, there are parts of the ocean that dolphins cannot fully understand. Because far below them, in total darkness, live creatures that operate on completely different rules. Creatures that don't rely on sight. Creatures that don't rely on speed. Creatures that seem almost alien. And among them, one stands out. Silent, flexible, patient, waiting on the ocean floor. The octopus. Far below the surface, beyond the reach of sunlight, beyond the world of speed, noise, and constant movement, there is another realm, a silent one, a slow one, a place where survival depends not on strength, but on patience. Here, on the cold ocean floor, moves one of the strangest creatures ever to exist, the octopus. At first glance, it doesn't look threatening. No massive jaws, no powerful tail, no armor, just a soft body and long, flexible arms. But this illusion is dangerous, because the octopus is not weak. It is something far more unsettling. It is adaptable. Unlike most creatures, the octopus has no rigid skeleton. Its body is almost entirely soft. This allows it to do something almost impossible, to fit through spaces no larger than its own eye. Cracks in rocks, tiny openings, narrow crevices, places where predators cannot follow. In the deep sea, this flexibility is survival. The pressure here is extreme, enough to crush bones, enough to destroy most living organisms. But the octopus doesn't need bones. Its body matches the density of the surrounding water, allowing it to exist where others cannot. And in a world without light, vision becomes useless. So the octopus relies on something else, its arms, covered in hundreds of sensitive suckers, each one capable of detecting taste, touch, and chemical signals. It doesn't just feel the environment, it understands it. It can taste the water, sense movement, detect the presence of prey without ever seeing it. In the deep ocean, this is more powerful than sight. Movement is slow, deliberate. Every action is calculated because energy is limited. Food is rare. The octopus glides across the ocean floor, almost like a shadow. Sometimes it doesn't move at all. It waits. Minutes pass, sometimes hours, until something comes too close. A small crustacean, a fish, an unsuspecting creature drifting through the dark. In an instant, everything changes. The octopus strikes. Its arms extend rapidly, wrapping around the prey with incredible precision. Suction cups lock in place. There is no escape. Within seconds, the prey is pulled toward its beak, hidden beneath the arms, sharp, powerful, efficient. The hunt is over before it even truly begins. But in the abyss, the hunter can quickly become the hunted. Larger predators roam these depths, deep-sea fish, giant squid, unknown creatures we have barely studied. To survive, the octopus must disappear, and it can. Some species can release clouds of ink, creating confusion in the water. Others rely on something even more effective, stillness. By remaining completely motionless, blending with the ocean floor, they become invisible. Not through color, but through absence. And when necessary, they retreat, squeezing into spaces no predator can reach, vanishing completely. In this world, speed doesn't matter. Strength doesn't matter. Visibility doesn't matter. Only one thing does: survival, and the octopus has mastered it. But even deeper in the ocean, beyond the reach of most life, exist creatures even more massive, even more mysterious. Giants that move slowly through the water, feeding not by hunting, but by filtering entire oceans. Creatures so large that nothing around them seems real. And among them, one stands above all. In the vast expanse of the ocean, where blue stretches endlessly in every direction, there are creatures so massive that they redefine what giant truly means. Not aggressive, not fast, but overwhelming. Slowly, almost peacefully, a shadow moves beneath the surface, huge, silent, unbothered by everything around it. The whale shark. At first glance, it looks like something out of a myth, a creature reaching up to 18 meters in length and weighing more than 20 tons, the largest fish on Earth. And yet, it is not a predator. Despite its enormous mouth, lined with thousands of tiny teeth, the whale shark does not hunt large prey. It feeds on something almost invisible: plankton, tiny organisms drifting through the ocean. To survive, this giant must consume massive quantities of food every day, dozens of kilograms, constantly, without stopping. And so it swims, slowly, steadily, with its mouth wide open. As it moves forward, water flows into its massive jaws, carrying plankton, small fish, larvae, everything in its path. Then, using a highly specialized filtration system, the whale shark separates food from water. The water exits through its gills. The food stays. Simple, efficient, endless. Its body tells a different story. Dark blue-gray skin covered in pale spots and patterns that resemble a starry sky. Each individual has a unique pattern, like a fingerprint. Its massive tail moves slowly, but with incredible force, each motion pushing thousands of liters of water behind it. Unlike aggressive predators, this giant has almost no natural enemies. Its size alone protects it. Its skin, up to 10 centimeters thick, acts like armor. And yet, even something this large is not completely safe. Young whale sharks, or weakened individuals, can become targets for sharks, for orcas, for anything powerful enough to take the risk. In those rare moments, the ocean reveals a brutal truth. No creature is untouchable. But most of the time, the whale shark lives undisturbed, traveling vast distances. Some individuals migrate more than 20,000 kilometers every year, crossing entire oceans, following food, following instinct. Sometimes they gather, not in structured groups, but in temporary congregations. Hundreds of giants moving slowly together, feeding in the same nutrient-rich waters. A silent gathering of massive bodies, a spectacle almost impossible to comprehend. And yet, despite their size, despite their calm nature, there is something even more impressive. Creatures that do not just exist in the ocean, but dominate entire regions. Creatures that combine size, power, and presence. One of them rises to the surface, breaking through the water with a force that cannot be ignored. A massive body, powerful fins, a movement that feels almost intentional, the humpback whale. Reaching lengths of up to 16 meters and weighing between 30 and 40 tons, this giant is not just strong, it is expressive. Unlike many ocean giants, the humpback whale is known for something unusual. Its voice, deep, powerful, almost haunting sounds travel through the ocean for incredible distances. Songs, complex, repeating, evolving. Scientists believe these songs play a role in communication, in mating, in connection. In the vast emptiness of the ocean, these sounds carry for hundreds of kilometers, allowing individuals to find each other across impossible distances. But even these giants are not free from danger, because somewhere nearby, there are hunters that work together, that plan, that wait. And when the moment comes, even giants must fight to survive. In the open ocean, far from land, far from safety, life is never guaranteed, even for giants. A massive shape moves slowly through warm, calm waters, a humpback whale mother with her newborn calf. The calf is enormous by human standards. At birth, it already measures up to 5 meters and weighs close to 1 ton. But in the ocean, it is still vulnerable. For the first months of its life, the calf stays close to its mother, always near, always protected. It feeds constantly, consuming rich, fatty milk that allows it to grow rapidly. Stronger, heavier, but not fast enough. Because in the distance, something is watching. A dorsal fin cuts through the water, then another, then more. Orcas, they don't rush, they don't waste energy, they observe, they wait. Because they know something important. The calf is the target, not the mother. The attack begins without warning. Orcas surge forward, cutting through the water with incredible speed. The ocean explodes into movement. The mother reacts instantly. She positions herself between the attackers and her calf. Massive, protective, unyielding. Her tail slams the water with tremendous force. A single ooder strong enough to injure, even kill. But the orcas are not alone. They never are. They spread out, surrounding, coordinating, communicating constantly through clicks and calls. Some distract the mother, others target the calf. The strategy is clear: separate, isolate, exhaust. The calf struggles to keep up. Its movements are slower, less controlled. Every second matters. The mother pushes it upward, toward the surface, for air, for survival. But the orcas keep coming, relentless. They dive beneath the calf, striking from below, forcing it off balance, disrupting its breathing. Minutes turn into hours. The ocean becomes a battlefield. The mother fights with everything she has, her sinews, her strength, her instinct. She charges, she slaps the water, she uses her entire body as a shield. Sometimes, it is enough. Sometimes, the orcas retreat, but not always, because they are patient, and they do not give up easily. In some cases, after hours of pursuit, the calf weakens, and in that moment, everything changes. The ocean falls silent again. The struggle ends, but even in loss, life continues, because in the ocean, nothing is wasted. When a whale dies, its body does not disappear. It sinks, slowly, into the depths, a massive form descending through darkness. This is known as a whale fall, and for the deep ocean, it is one of the most important events. A single whale carcass can feed entire ecosystems for decades. First come the large predators, sharks, deep-sea fish. They consume the soft tissue, then come the scavengers, crustaceans, worms, countless smaller organisms. And finally, even the bones become a source of life. Specialized bacteria break down the remaining nutrients, creating entirely new ecosystems around the skeleton. In death, the giant becomes a foundation for life, a new beginning. And this is the truth of the ocean. It is not just a place of survival, it is a cycle, relentless, precise, unforgiving, but also perfectly balanced. And yet, despite everything we've seen, there is still so much we don't understand. Because deeper still, in places we have barely explored, there are creatures even stranger, even more adapted, even more hidden. Creatures that have survived for millions of years, unchanged, watching, waiting, far below everything we know, beneath the giants, beneath the hunters, beneath the endless blue. There is a world that almost no human has ever seen, the ocean floor, a place where light does not exist, where movement is slow and survival is measured in patience. Here lives a creature so simple that it almost seems harmless. The starfish. No speed, no sharp teeth, no powerful jaws, just a body made of soft tissue, and arms stretching outward like silent branches. But this simplicity is deceptive, because the starfish is not weak, it is relentless. Moving slowly across the seabed, using thousands of tiny tube feet, it searches, not with eyes, not with speed, but with sensation. It feels vibrations, detects chemical traces, understands its environment in ways we barely comprehend. And when it finds food, it does something unexpected. A shell, closed tightly, safe, protected, but not for long. The starfish attaches itself, wrapping its arms around the shell. Then slowly, patiently, it begins to pull, not with force, but with persistence. Minutes pass, sometimes hours, until the shell begins to open, just slightly, almost invisible. And that is enough, because the starfish does something almost impossible. It pushes its stomach out of its own body, into the shell, digesting its prey from the inside, silent, unstoppable, inevitable. In this world, even the slowest creatures are perfectly adapted to survive. But not all threats come from nature, because now, there is something else in the ocean, something louder, faster, more destructive than any predator. Us. Ships cross the oceans every day, their massive engines producing noise that travels for kilometers underwater. For creatures that rely on sound, this is chaos. Whales lose their orientation. Their communication breaks. Their ability to survive weakens. Plastic fills the water. Millions of tons every year, floating, sinking, spreading. Entire regions of the ocean have turned into massive garbage zones, places where life struggles to continue. Fishing nets drift endlessly, trapping anything in their path. Not for food, not for survival, but by accident. Even the largest creatures are not immune. Whale sharks, sperm whales, manta rays, all affected, all vulnerable, and yet there is still hope. Because unlike natural predators, we have a choice. We can change how we treat the ocean. We can protect it, preserve it, respect it. Because the ocean is not just water, it is a world, a system, a balance that has existed for millions of years, a place where giants rule in silence, where life survives against impossible odds, where every creature has a role. And even now, after everything we've discovered, the ocean still holds secrets, things we have not seen, things we have not understood, things that may still be waiting in the dark. So the next time you look at the ocean, remember this: you are not looking at empty water, you are looking at an entire universe, hidden beneath the surface. If this video amazed you, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Tell us in the comments, which creature shocked you the most? And if you want to keep exploring the mysteries of our planet, stay with us, because this is only the beginning.